Welcome to a new motivational video of life-changing quotes from history's greatest. Today we share educational, inspiring and motivational quotes from the most brilliant economist who ever lived, Frédéric Bastiat. Please click on the like button and subscribe to my channel so you don't have to miss any of my new videos. Make sure you watch the video until the end to find out Bastiat's biggest achievements. Let us start with some historical background. Frédéric Bastiat was a French economist, writer and a prominent member of the French liberal school. Born on the 29th of June 1801 in Bayonne, Aquitaine, a port town in the south of France on the Bay of Biscay, Bastiat developed intellectual interests in several areas including philosophy, history, politics, religion, travel, poetry, political economy and biography. After the middle-class revolution of 1830, Bastiat became politically active and was elected Justice of the Peace of Mugron in 1831 and to the Council General of Lands in 1832. His public career as an economist began only in 1844, when his first article was published in the journal Des Economistes during October of that year. Bastiat was elected to the National Legislative Assembly after the French Revolution of 1848 and 1849. He contracted tuberculosis, probably during his tours throughout France to promote his ideas. On the 24th of December 1850, Bastiat called those with him to approach his bed and murmured twice the words, "The truth," before he died at the age of 49. Get inspired by some of Bastiat's life-changing quotes. There is only one difference between a bad economist and a good one. The bad economist confines himself to the visible effect. The good economist takes into account both the effect that can be seen and those effects that must be foreseen. The politician attempts to remedy the evil by increasing the very thing that caused the evil in the first place. Legal plunder. Everyone wants to live at the expense of the state. They forget that the state lives at the expense of everyone. Government is the great fiction, through which everybody endeavors to live at the expense of everybody else. Socialism, like the ancient ideas from which it springs, confuses the distinction between government and society. As a result of this, every time we object to a thing being done by government, the socialists conclude that we object to its being done at all. We disapprove of state education. Then the socialists say that we are opposed to any education. We object to a state religion. Then the socialists say that we want no religion at all. We object to a state-enforced equality. Then they say that we are against equality. And so on, and so on. It is as if the socialists were to accuse us of not wanting persons to eat because we do not want the state to raise grain. I do not dispute their right to invent social combinations, to advertise them, to advocate them, and to try them upon themselves, at their own expense and risk. But I do dispute their right to impose these plans upon us by law, by force, and to compel us to pay for them with our taxes. If the natural tendencies of mankind are so bad that it is not safe to permit people to be free, how is it that the tendencies of these organizers are always good? Do not the legislators and their appointed agents also belong to the human race? Or do they believe that they themselves are made of a finer clay than the rest of mankind? When plunder becomes a way of life for a group of men in a society, over the course of time they create for themselves a legal system that authorizes it and a moral code that glorifies it. But how is this legal plunder to be identified? Quite simply, see if the law takes from some persons what belongs to them and gives it to other persons to whom it does not belong. See if the law benefits one citizen at the expense of another by doing what the citizen himself cannot do without committing a crime. The worst thing that can happen to a good cause is not to be skillfully attacked, but to be ineptly defended. Life, liberty, and property do not exist because men have made laws. On the contrary, it was the fact that life, liberty, and property existed beforehand that caused men to make laws in the first place. Ah, you miserable creatures! You who think that you are so great! You who judge humanity to be so small! You who wish to reform everything! Why don't you reform yourselves? That task would be sufficient enough. Sometimes the law defends plunder and participates in it. Sometimes the law places the whole apparatus of judges, police, prisons, and gendarmes at the service of the plunderers and treats the victim, when he defends himself, as a criminal. Now, legal plunder can be committed in an infinite number of ways. Thus we have an infinite number of plans for organizing it. Tariffs, protection, benefits, subsidies, encouragements, progressive taxation, public schools, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed profits, minimum wages, a right to relief, a right to the tools of labor, free credit, and so on, and so on. The person who profits from this law will complain bitterly, defending his acquired rights. He will claim that the state is obligated to protect it and encourage his particular industry, that this procedure enriches the state because the protected industry is thus able to spend more and to pay higher wages to the poor working men. Do not listen to this sophistry by vested interests. The acceptance of these arguments will build legal plunder into a whole system. In fact, this has already occurred. The present-day delusion is an attempt to enrich everyone at the expense of everyone else, to make plunder universal under the pretense of organizing it. When law and morality contradict each other, the citizen has the cruel alternative of either losing his moral sense or losing his respect for the law. Each of us has a natural right, from God, to defend his person, his liberty, and his property. Legal plunder has two roots. One of them, as I have said before, is in human greed, the other is in false philanthropy. As long as it is admitted that the law may be diverted from its true purpose, that it may violate property instead of protecting it, then everyone will want to participate in making the law, either to protect himself against plunder or to use it for plunder. Law and charity are not the same. When goods do not cross borders, soldiers will. You say, there are persons who lack education and you turn to the law. But the law is not, in itself, a torch of learning which shines its light abroad. The law extends over a society where some persons have knowledge and others do not, where some citizens need to learn, and others can teach. In this matter of education, the law has only two alternatives. It can permit this transaction of teaching and learning to operate freely and without the use of force, or it can force human wills in this matter by taking from some of them enough to pay the teachers who are appointed by government to instruct others, without charge. But in the second case, the law commits legal plunder by violating liberty and property. The most urgent necessity is not that the state should teach, but that it should allow education. All monopolies are detestable, but the worst of all is the monopoly of education. Life is a gift from God. We hold from God the gift which includes all others. This gift is life, physical, intellectual, and moral life. But life cannot maintain itself alone. The Creator of life has entrusted us with the responsibility of preserving, developing, and perfecting it. In order that we may accomplish this, He has provided us with a collection of marvelous faculties, and He has put us in the midst of a variety of natural resources. By the application of our faculties to these natural resources, we convert them into products and use them. This process is necessary in order that life may run its appointed course. The law is guilty of the evils it is supposed to punish, It is not true that the legislator has absolute power over our persons and property. The existence of persons and property preceded the existence of the legislator, and his function is only to guarantee their safety. Bastiat's biggest achievements. Bastiat was the author of many works on economics and political economy, generally characterized by their clear organization, forceful argumentation, and acerbic wit. Bastiat's most famous work is The Law. Originally published as a pamphlet in 1850, it defines a just system of laws and then demonstrates how such law facilitates a free society. In The Law, Bastiat wrote that everyone has a right to protect his person, his liberty, and his property. The state should be only a substitution of a common force for individual forces to defend this right. His book The Law is a must-read for everyone. The link is in the description box below. How to find motivation and never give up on your dreams. The only way to achieve your dreams is by staying consistent and doing the work even when you do not feel motivated to do it. What are you doing to achieve your dreams, and which quote resonates with you or made you pause and think? Share your answer in the comments below. Please click on the like button and subscribe to my channel so you don't have to miss any of my new videos.